What's going on? Welcome back to Texans Underground. I am your host, the one and only Black Line 17 on all platforms. Hit your boy up, man. Hey, as well, I got a new name for everybody. Once you subscribe and once you view the channel, you are part of the bullpen. So that's what you guys are from now on. Y'all the bullpen. You know the people that be in Europe, they be running from the Bulls. Hop over that little gate. You in the bullpen and you with your dog, the Black Lion. So today, this is what we're gonna talk about. Philosophy on building an organization and team building. This is one of the things that I've been wanting to talk about. I discussed with some people, and looking throughout YouTube and watching people do mock drafts. This is the one thing that confuses me about a lot of decisions and people that that really don't follow our team, or people that do follow us, and then they have these wow imaginations of how to mock draft and how to put players in on teams and stuff like that. So that's what we're gonna talk here to today. That's what we're gonna talk about. So I was supposed to be dropping, my video with the top 5 for every position, and like I said in yesterday's video, I'm doing a lot of work. I still want to watch a couple of more film on Witherspoon, the cornerback from Illinois. It's a few players I still want to see before I start really saying, okay, this is who I want at this position and blase. Not so much as for my team or specific teams or whatever. Just trying to outline the player, the actual player, the actual on-field things that that player has. What is team building to you? Is team building to you just grabbing people because they meet a height, weight expectation? Is team building a physical tool? Like you have to run a certain speed at a certain position, or you got to be able to bench press or squat a certain thing, for certain positions? Or is team building okay, this player, I have this type of offense, this player does this, and he doesn't fit our type of offense, so we're not gonna mess with him. But he's too athletically gifted, so maybe we can find a player, maybe we can find a place for him. Or as team building, the concept of putting great people around other great people and having good leadership and somebody that can and having a bunch of people in different areas to be able to control their area. Meaning having leaders in the secondary room, having a leader in the linebacker room, having a leader in the defensive line room, having a leader that can combine all those in one, then having a leader on the offensive line room, then having a leader on the receiver room, then having a leader in the running back room, and of course your quarterback being a leader, and then combining all of those and bringing it together, and then combining the offense and defense, and those two leaders from both of them sides that brings everybody together on their side, bringing them two together, and now you have a whole team. Which, that's something that I want people to really start thinking about, because a lot of the times people start making these comparisons of player this and player that, and the player don't even have the mentality. So if you're talking about a player And this player doesn't have the same type of mentality where they don't love the game. They don't breathe the game the same as the other player does. How can you say, how can you, I just don't get that. I never did. I don't understand. Um, I keep hearing this Will Levis deal, and I don't want to go back to the Will Levis train or whatever, but people saying Will Levis compares to Josh Allen. In your using your eyes, what do you see that they do that's similar? I really want y'all to think about that. What do they do? What do they do that is very similar? The only thing you can say is that they can flick of the wrist, they can throw it 80 yards. That's not everything. That's not the end all be all for a top tier quarterback. It's just not it. It's not it. Is he in there with offensive coordinators, game planning and suggesting plays and designing plays and saying, hey, this is what I like, or this is what I don't like, or maybe if this run play, if we move the tight end here, or we move a receiver here, oh, you know what? We got such and such that's a really good receiving threat, but he's a blocker. If we move him over here in the tight end position, and then we run the ball that way, we might get some numbers because you're going to have smaller people over here. Is that quarterback? I'm not talking about Will Levis. I'm just speaking on, is that quarterback, is him, that guy, is he in that room with those people, with the offensive coordinator and the QB coach, talking like that? Because if he is, that's a good sign. So, team building, right? My philosophy, my opinion, I'm gonna state this a lot because I hate when people say opinions and they think that because they said it's their fact and that's how it goes. It's not true. There's multiple ways to build a team that you can build a successful organization. And look at Harbaugh before he went to Michigan. Michigan, we all know Michigan has always been a top tier college football school. Even though when they're at the bottom and they're not winning like they're supposed to, they're still, the eyes are still going to be on Michigan. Harbaugh came in there and he changed the culture. He took these kids and started taking them to Paris and London and Sydney, Australia. He's flying these kids to places that these kids would never get to probably see in their life ever again. Because you have to remember, some of them, about 90% of those kids that was on those Michigan teams in the beginning did not make the NFL. Okay? So those kids are experiencing things that they might not be able to even afford to pay for once they get and become, 36, 37, 38, 40, 45-year-old men. Because it's just that, it's logical that way. It's possible. When you go and you look at what he did with Colin Kaepernick when he was with the 49ers before Michigan and how he changed the 49er culture, right? You look at guys like Chip Kelly. When Chip Kelly went to Oregon, he changed the way Oregon football is played and looked at for years. He is the what you call the standard of going to a place and making sure that you leave it better than what it was when you came. So that is on itself is an amazing job what he did, right? We look at Bill Belichick going to New England, right? We look at Jimmy Johnson going to Miami, turning that team into a national powerhouse, leaving Miami and then going to Dallas Cowboys and then turning that into a national powerhouse. Even though they was, national powerhouse before that, but when he came, it took it to a different level, right? So when I say I'm saying all that to say is that if you really go back and look at those teams and look at the coaches that I mentioned, the Bill Walshes, the Mike Shanahans, the Kyle Shanahans, we're not just talking about play calling, and we're talking about personalities and getting the right personalities, right? And taking them, because everybody's different, but you take them like this and then you get them all on one accord. And you have that guy at the top that's able to pick and see, like, this is the type of player we need. Not just the physical tools, but mental makeup, work ethic, leadership skills, being able to speak, knowledge of the game. Those things matter. Sometimes they matter a little bit more than the physical tools. Who would have ever thought Travis Kelce would be what he is? People, I want y'all to understand, Travis Kelce, about 90-something% of the time, I won't even say 90, I'll say about 76, I'm 78% of the time, he actually is running the route the way it's supposed to be ran. He's running the routes, right? He's stopping in middle parts of the zones before he even actually runs the route all the way through. He don't, like, sometimes he'll run a dig or a drag and he will just feel the zone and he'll just shut it down. He'll run a stop route. He's supposed to run it at 7, bring it back to 5. He'll run it to 7 and then see, oh shoot, look at the linebacker. Oh, I'm gonna slide over to the left a little bit, show him my numbers. Boom, boom, boom. Come on, Pat. Look at me. Boom. Before you know it, it's a 20-yard play. It's the little things. It's the understanding of football, understanding how to play the game. The X's and O's are there because you're trying to scheme people up, to scheme things open throughout a game. As a play caller, you're trying to put the ball in the hands of your playmakers, right? That's what you're trying to do as an offensive coordinator. You're trying to get your QB on a rhythm. You're trying to establish, either if you're an offensive coordinator that loves to pass the ball, you're trying to establish the pass so that later on you can run. Or if you're an offensive coordinator with a philosophy that you feel like running the ball is the main thing, and then you want to use the passing game off of that, there's no right or wrong answer to it. People have to get out of this thing to where, oh, that's the right way and that's the wrong way. It's not a right or wrong way to build a roster and team building. There's not a right or wrong way. So this notion of the Texans shouldn't take a quarterback at 2. Why not? Please, why wouldn't you not take a quarterback at 2? If Chicago stays there, right? Some people are questioning right now, why the hell Chicago would even trade the number 1 pick? Why? Because Bryce Young, as I said last week, last episode, he was hands down from his freshman year until now, he was always talked about as being the number 1 QB once he comes out in the draft. Now we're here. Yes, y'all have Justin Fields. Yes, we've seen a lot of upside from Justin Fields. Yes, Justin Fields plays some amazing football, but also Justin Fields has been, I think he's statistically in the lower part of the passing game. Now, reason why I don't like stats, a lot of that is misleading because he does not have playmakers. The offensive line is horrible, and he been dealing with a lot of bad offensive coordinator issues over there. I think they finally got them somewhat of a legit coach and play caller, even though he's more of a defensive guy, but their offensive guy, coordinator, is understanding. And I believe Justin Fields is one of those guys that likes to be in the room. Well, I ain't gonna say believe because I seen him on Elite 11 and the other TV show QB1 where he's in there in the talking to these coaches like this is what I like. I know he's in there in the NFL doing the same, right? So I understand if Chicago don't want to draft a QB. You are kind of putting like if you take Justin Fields and you trade him and you go get Bryce Young or Will Levis or whoever, whichever quarterback you take, right? And then Justin Fields goes and does something similar to Jalen Hurts, you're gonna be in trouble. If you don't go Justin Fields with the first pick and say you get Jalen Carter and then Bryce Young ends up being a top 3 QB within the next 2 or 3 years, you're not really gonna that nobody's gonna say anything about that because they're gonna say, oh well, he gave Justin Fields a chance. So that the conflict right there is the issue. And there's a lot more, don't want to go too much on a rant about the Bears, but there's a lot more stuff into that because as the GM, you could think about playing out, well, hey, and after this year, Fields might want a payday. And if Fields comes out and plays somewhere similar to Jalen Hurts, he might want a big payday. Do I want to do that, or do I want to go ahead and take the QB now? Now I got a rookie quarterback on a 5-year deal. So I got a quarterback with a 5-year deal on a 4-year deal with a 5th-year option, right? And on a rookie quarterback salary. But with that, there's the possibility of filling a lot of roster holes, right? On top of possibly trading Justin Fields and getting maybe another first for next year, maybe 2 seconds, a third, something. You get a first and I would say Justin Fields at least worth some kind of, it depends on who's trading for him. I mean, if I wouldn't trade him to Green Bay. Me personally, I really think Aaron Rodgers is done in Green Bay. If I was Green Bay, I wouldn't bring him back. It's kind of hard to see. I would say the Raiders would be the team more likely that would try to trade for him. But then I think the Jets are the team that's really just a quarterback away from being up there and battling for the AFC East. I don't think Carolina would do it. I think Carolina really wants to go young. I could see Indianapolis doing it, even though, Indy wants to go young and build future like they did with Peyton and Andrew Luck. But so, with that being said, I really didn't want to go on a Chicago tangent, but that's what all the things that they're thinking about, that the GM is thinking about, right? So when we localize that and we talk about the Texans team building, just throwing people saying, okay, yeah, y'all should draft Will Levis. Will Levis, if you look at the team that we have right now with the personalities, with the guys that we have, he's going to be like oil and water. He's not going to fit with the guys that we have right now. I'm going to give you a good example. If you notice, Jimmy G, Brock Purdy, and Trey Lance, right? When Trey Lance was starting, yes, he was struggling, but if something happened to Trey, them offensive linemen, the receivers, Ayuk and Debo, they wasn't having that. You wasn't finna put your hands on Lance. Jimmy G gets in, he plays well, they got his back. But then when he started messing up, everybody's that way, other people this way. Ain't nobody sitting on the side of him talking to him. Brock Purdy come in, Brock Purdy in there dancing with him. They playing the jukebox. Brock Purdy out there dancing with him. Because he vibes, he gets it. He understands, he initiates himself and is able to talk with these okay, sorry for that train, but he's able to talk to these guys and galvanize them, and he's not standoffish. You get what I'm saying? So that means a lot. Will Levis he don't mix with the type of guys we have right now. He just don't. And then to that same thing, that same boat, I kind of don't think CJ mixed well with what we have right now. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? I think the best two guys as far as like that attribute for us in Houston is AR and Bryce. Especially Bryce, because Bryce has that Hollywood smile, that Magic Johnson type aura around him, that Dak Prescott type of that smile that he would embrace being a citizen of Houston, right? You might catch him walk in with a cowboy hat on and some boots. You might catch him come in just with a big truck maybe one day. You can just see him kind of, galvanize, really engraving himself like D-Hop and JJ did. And I'm not going to even mention that name, but they engraved themselves here, right? So that's why I think more so, yeah, the talent, all that has to be there. But when we're talking about team building and getting these guys to buy in, having somebody that's box office like a Bryce helps with free agency down the line, because we're projected to be top 1-2 next year, right? This year we re-sign or give Tunsil an extension. They're talking about upwards to 15 million being pushed back on the cap. That's a lot of extra money. So you're talking about we sitting in 5th, 6th right now with 31, 36 available. You put an extra 15 on top of that, then you get Titus Howard a contract. They saying that could push it back to another 3 to 4. So now you talking about close to $40-50 million going into a subpar free agency, right? And when I say subpar free agent, because a lot of players that are high profile players that's in there, we don't necessarily need, like a Lamar Jackson, Derek Carr, those guys, right? Our biggest need for a veteran guy is either interior defensive line, safety, and for sure center and guard. Like I said in the last video, my opinion, what I would do if I was Nick Caserio's shoes, I would be trying right now to find a good veteran center that fits what Bobby Slowick and D'Amico want to do on offense. And also watching what quarterback he's played with. I don't want a center that has never played with somebody that's shifty in the pocket, because the one attribute that people never give Jason Kelsey for is the ability to understand the quarterback. He knows that he has a running quarterback back there that will make plays. He knows that, yeah, when we run these RPOs, I want to fire off the ball, but I cannot go past 2 yards. And he's the leader of that offensive line. So the other guys also follow and pay attention to that. If Travis Kelsey gets to a mark and stop, ain't nobody going to run past him. You get what I'm saying? So those things matter, because that's flags. That's taking a 30 and 6 conversion and turning that from being 1st and 10 to now 3rd. But I think legal man downfield is 5 yards. So now you're talking about replaying the down, and it's 3rd and 11 now. Now your opportunity of keeping that drive going is severely went from 100% because you got the 1st down to now to the low 20s, because 3rd and long, anything past 3rd and 10 is hard to get in the NFL. So that's what if I'm Nick Caserio, that's what I'm looking for. On top of that, if it is a older guy that's 32, 33 years old, I want to make sure he's a good teacher, because I then want to go into the draft and hopefully one of those young guys that I can draft in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round is there, and he can learn from him. Hopefully he can play guard and center, and he can still get some play time in at guard here and there, or as a swing in and out. That would be the A+ move, right? Then, as I said, you have the interior defensive line. Now, this is what I'm talking about when I say team building, and people just want to throw people Brian Breezy to the Texans. He does not fit the D'Amico style of play. He does not fit that style of play. That's not a D'Amico Ryans type of defensive lineman. The guy from Pittsburgh that's now shooting up draft boards, and they compare him to Aaron Donald. He is not a defensive. Pay attention, people. Pay attention to what D'Amico had from the beginning when he first started being a linebacker coach up until he became the defensive coordinator. The 49ers had big, stout, strong, athletic, built defensive tackles. They didn't have Vita Vedas and the Tony Siragusa RIP. They didn't have the Stephon Tuitt's, the big, just yoked up, I'm just gonna sit here and hold my double team and you not move me. He didn't have that. He had the Armstrongs and the boy that went to the Colts, DeForest Buckner. He had defensive linemen that were big but had good first step, good hands, and were able to penetrate in the middle. Brian Breezy is not that. Y'all keep talking about refined pass rush. All I see is sloppy missed tackles and giving up on plays. I don't see that. I haven't checked out old boy from Penn State yet. I mean, not Penn State, Pitt. I haven't checked him out yet to be able to say anything about him. But that's what we're talking about when we talk about team building. When y'all do these mock drafts and y'all just want to throw names in a hat and be like, oh yeah, he'll be a Texan. You no. First off, mechanically wise, he doesn't fit. He doesn't fit the height weight thing first. Then the film don't match up with that. So yes, 2 years ago, was he playing good ball? Yes. But that's 2 years ago. We're not worried about 2 years ago. We're worried about what happened last year and what projects. That film from 2 years ago does not project to what we got going on. You know why? Because he had a bunch of players around him. Since we gonna keep talking about, oh, well, CJ Stroud had this player and this player and this player. Okay, so did Brian Breeson. He had Miles Murphy, the guy that played on the left side of him, is supposed to be a number is considered the second to third best pass rusher in this draft. And we not sitting up here talking about, oh, he had him over there to take the double teams and the chip blocks from him. Come on now, man. We make up stuff to try to prove the point that for the opinion that we've had for whatever that person is. We cannot do that. That has to stop. It has to stop. We cannot keep doing that. So when you make these mock drafts and you talk about these teams, you have start thinking as if you were the person, you were the GM. Stop trying to put yourself in those types of mechanical errors, I would call it. Not trying to, bash people. Yeah, hey, there's a lot of YouTubers out there that do the same content that I'm doing. But a lot of people, I've been watching and listening to them, and a lot of these guys be misinforming a lot of these people and saying they watching Will Levis tape and all this other stuff, and y'all not really watching Will Levis tape. They out here talking about, oh, Davis Mills, man, we should run it back with Davis Mills. What? And how could, if you watched 30 seconds of a Texan game, how on earth could you come up with that as your grand scheme of team building and trying to push an organization to the next level? Whenever I hear people say Davis Mills, they keep Davis Mills or draft Will Levis, I'm done. I don't, even with other teams, like I seen one person say the Colts was gonna trade 3 first-round picks and two twos and a third to move up to 4 to draft Will Levis. As a Texas fan, go ahead. I can't wait. I hope, go trade all that assets so y'all could be just like how we was a few years ago with no draft picks, no salary cap space. Your offensive line is already going down the drain. Quentin Nelson, you think he want to stick around and play and keep playing for a team that is winning 3-4 games? Probably not. Darius Leonard stays hurt. Do you want him? You think he gonna want to stick around and keep playing for a team that's winning 4 or 5 games a year? Nope. So, go ahead. Go ahead and do that. Go ahead. As a Texas fan, But as a NFL guy, and it creates with this, we're talking about with this video is team building. That's dumb. You could get, trust me, there's nobody right now. There's nobody. Today we could pull the tape. We gonna have receipts. When the NFL draft come around, I promise you, ain't nobody trading a bunch of picks to move up to get Will Levis. I can promise you that. Now, will Will Levis probably go in the first round? Probably. Could he go in the top 10? Probably. Is somebody going? But nobody's moving up to pick one to go get Will. If Bryce and CJ is still on the table, they're not moving up to go get him. Trust and believe. So, team building and the way that people be, their thought process is crazy, right? The Davis Mills thing, I don't look, I hate being that guy to sit here and do those types of things, but I'm judging what I see, and it's no knock. I'm sure he's a good person, right? I never met the dude. I hope he's a good person. Hey, if he want to come on the show, that'd be even better. But what I'm saying is, from what we see mechanically, the tools. When I see, man, this is elementary school football. When you tried out to play quarterback in Pee Wee, if you could not throw the ball to in some kind of out route form, or like a quick screen throwing to the receiver on the sideline, you just catch the ball, you throw it all the way over there. If you couldn't do that, you wasn't playing quarterback. That's like saying, you know what, I'm gonna take this kid that can't throw from the catcher to the pitcher, but I'm gonna take him and put him in right field. Like, so you finna put the person that can't throw from the catcher to the pitcher, you finna put him all the way to the right field, and you finna try to make him have to throw from over there to third base? When you got second base right here, put him at second base and see if he can get routine ground balls and be able to throw to first and second because they're closer accurately. Like, come on. Like, the thinking process, it kills me. Davis Mills on screens, on dump out, but I call them banana routes that you dump off to the running back, check down type routes. He overthrows them. It was one play, he tried to throw the ball away on a screen and got the ball intercepted because the ball kicked off of the guy's foot. As a Texans fan, you know how hard that is to watch. Like, you are an NFL player, and as a Texans, we have to sit here and watch that? Now, and then this is the killing part. He'll do some real non-quarterback like play for 3-4 games. And then he'll come back and we'll play somebody like Kansas City or Philadelphia, and he'll make eye-popping throws, right? But you know why he making these throws, people? Because the offensive line finally held up, because the defense on the other side, like, shoot, they ain't finna run the ball. They receivers can't win at the line, so we just finna blitz 9. We ain't gonna put a safety in the middle of the field. We finna blitz him too. Let's just get back there, hurry up and get this game over with, because we know he gonna throw us one. And Nico finally wins on the outside and gets an in cut, but Nico can't catch the ball and run with it. You know why? Because the ball is high to the left or it's behind him. He got to turn around and do some kind of miraculous type catch, or he got to try to dive and scoop it up before it hits the grass. Like, and we're going to really sit up here and constantly say that, oh, well, his mechanics, he stands so upright in the pocket. He's so calm and cool. And then when he makes mistakes, you see that he just doesn't, it doesn't bother him. I want my quarterback to feel bothered when he make mistakes like that. I've been watching football for a very, very long time. This is my first love. I've never seen a quarterback that's a Hall of Fame type QB play the way Davis Mills played. From the Troy Aikmans to the John Elways to the Dan Marinos to the Warren Moons, when them dudes throw a pass and they got intercepted, they was PO'd. They was upset. Tom Brady's. Them dudes, they don't just walk to the sideline. That's his attitude every time. Every time he throws an interception, especially one that's his fault, like, dude, you don't feel some type of way about yourself? The last game in Indianapolis that we shouldn't have won, this dude threw an interception. He threw it straight to the goal. Bro, if he was a receiver on our team, he would have scored a touchdown. He threw it straight to the DB. I'm talking about right in between the numbers. If the DB dropped that ball, dude, you not playing no more. He can't, I can't understand it. I can't understand when Texas fans say stuff like that. I don't get it. All right, so on to the next topic. I'm gonna ask y'all, what do y'all feel that's important? The important positions in for teams, right? And I'm asking y'all, right? I'm not saying what do you think Nick Caserio or any other GM or coach, what they feel. I'm asking you, the viewer, what do you think are the most important positions to team building? I need outside guys, corners, safety, whatever, receivers, quarterback, or are you a interior first, front seven, offense, defensive line, and then out? So I'm gonna break this down. This is my part of the video where I'm gonna give you a lot of a deep dive into how I like to build teams and what I would do, not necessarily how I feel the Texans, what they should do and how they should do it, right? So the positions that I value the most, of course, is quarterback, right? That goes without being said. Quarterback is the position that I value the most. The next position that I value the most is cornerback. This is a different league now. You have to be able to stop outside runs. So if you can get a physical corner that can tackle, that's not scared to tackle, not scared to hit, and can bring a little punch to where he causes fumbles or makes plays on the ball, that's if I can find that person, that's who I want over the defensive lineman, defensive end, defensive tackle, whatever. My next, number 3 most valuable position would then be left and right guard. Left and right tackle. Left and right tackle. I say both because I don't want to put 4 as right tackle because really it doesn't matter. 3 right now in this league, you need to have 2 solid tackles. Both of them, because they have pass rushers move around now. It's not like how it was back in the day. Lawrence Taylor was the man that kind of invented this being moved around pass rusher thing. Yeah, so I was saying Lawrence Taylor is the guy that started them moving around and being moved around. More so a Bill Belichick expertise or his way of changing up the way defense is played. He was the architect of that Giants defense back then. And he had Lawrence Taylor start moving around and playing all the positions on the D-line. And also playing middle linebacker, Will, Mike, and Sam. Off ball and on the ball. So that's why I say now you need to have 2 because you can't take Tunsil, okay, Nick Bosa playing on the right side right now, so hey, you finna go to the right, Tyler Howard go to the left. Can't do that. Defenses have that advantage when it comes to the best pass rusher on their team. If you have a guy like Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, Myles Garrett, you can put them in positions to go up against the weaker guy, or whoever you deem is the weaker guy. So that's why I say you need to have both. There's no next. So that's number 3. Number 4, the opposite of what I was just saying, the D-line. Now, with the D-line comes a philosophy part to it. I should have jumped in the philosophy part for the QB. Okay, well, so the D-line part of it, when I say philosophy, I mean what type of defense are we playing? Are we playing 3-4 or 4-3? Because we're playing 3-4, it's a certain type of player I need, physical build, more so than a 4-3. And then in the 4-3 philosophy for me, right? This is for me. This is how I will build my team. I'd rather have the interior than the exterior first, right? Because the one thing that every great QB complains about is pass rush coming up the middle right there in front of their face. That's the thing that they hate. You can't step up when you have like guys like Drew Brees that was shorter in stature, being able to step up while everybody comes around him is helpful. But when you get that pass rush that's coming directly in your face, you can't stand up and you gotta try to roll left or right, and you don't necessarily have that kind of athleticism to get out. That causes an issue. So that's why I say inside first, then outside. Now we're running 3-4. I prefer the outside first, then the inside. But in the 3-4, my nose tackle has to be a dog. I need a Tony Siragusa. I need a Vita Veda. He has to be a dog. And I ain't talking about no Shih Tzu, miniature poodle. I need Rottweiler. I need Bull Mastiff. I need him to be a dog. You get what I'm saying? So, and those types of guys, those guys don't really go first round. Maybe I'm wrong about Tony. I know Vita Vea. People, man, people was talking about Vita Vea so bad. He's too slow. He's too arms length. His hand size. He not this. He not that. And now he's one of the best A gap D tackles in the game. He's one of the best zero nose tackles in the game. And he expanded his game to now where he can play the 3 tech, and sometimes he can, when they go wide 9 down there in Tampa, he can slide all the way to the 5. So he's developing his game. That mentality. He has that dog mentality. He's not gonna give up. He's gonna continue working. He's gonna keep getting better. So then after that, 5 is receiver. You have to have somebody that your quarterback can get the ball to. 6 is running back. 7 is center. I wanted to run those 3 because I want to explain that together. Why? Because philosophy for me, and I'm going to mix in the QB thing now, I do not like having my quarterback having to make so many at one time. So I want him to be able to play fast. So I don't want him going on the field when he already has to call the play. He has to hear it through the mic. He has to read it and speak it so everybody can hear and understand him. Then go out onto the field in the huddle. Out of the huddle. Get on there, see the play, see the coverage, see the depth of the safety, see the depth of the corner, see the depth of the center, the depth of the linebackers, see the depth of the corners, right? And then see where the front 4, how they're aligned, right? Because that matters as far as changing the run play or moving the running back to another side. I don't want my QB having to worry about all that and then having a slide protection, call the mic, make sure to communicate the running back. And that's a lot. So what I like to do is if I have a center that's a very intelligent football-minded center, Jason Kelsey, I have him, and he's the leader of that offensive line, not my tackle. He's the leader, and I have him able to do all the dirty work with those front 7. He knows he can communicate down the line with those guys on point out who goes where. So now while he's doing that, now my quarterback has more time to not take his eyes off of any safeties rolling, any safeties coming down, any nickels coming on, and making sure I'm checking into a hot if I have something coming somewhere. And I'm a full believer in having a hot route on every single play. every single play. Um, I've coached football before, and let me tell you, when it comes to play calling, that's where I think my game where I should be at, and that's what I'm working towards now. You know, the YouTube is me being able to reach out and speak to you guys, but the play calling aspect of football is what I love the most. Uh, and that's really where my heart is at. I really want to coach and get out there and be able to call plays and design plays because that's something that I've been loving that since a child. I've been drawing stuff out. Um, the funny thing is, I know I don't have receipts for it, but me and my dad, I had a conversation with him when I was back in high school, not off a subject, but um, I named it the Gulf Coast offense. You know, you got the West Coast offense stuff, whatever, but it was very similar to RPO and the RPO system that people are running now. And we're talking about this is like I man, I don't think I was in high school yet. I think I was in middle school when I came down from Louisiana and I was with my dad and just, yeah, matter of fact, it was because it was my eighth grade, going into my eighth grade year. And I wanted us to be able to do something different uh, besides just running the basic triple option. My coach back then, Coach Gabo, allowed me to play in the shotgun and do a lot of the Michael Vick type stuff where, I could run the ball myself or whatever, as well as throw the ball whenever, I could in middle school. Um, so that was helpful, and I appreciated that. But I also always wanted to see if I could push the levels to the game because that's how I was taught. I was taught how to read the coverage, how to understand routes from being 2, 3 years old. So when I spoke to my dad about this and we talked about it, he said that, of course, old school guy, it don't work. It can't work. It's not gonna. You can't do that because nobody understood it. Nobody understood it. I probably didn't even understand it at the time. I was just a kid trying to make up stuff, trying to see, if it was sticking, and hopefully, the play worked. Because what I saw was when we ran triple option out of wishbone and all that stuff, I always felt like, hey, why can't I throw the ball? Why can I not throw the ball? If I'm reading, what makes it any difference between reading a D tackle or reading a defensive end or the outside linebacker than reading the corner or reading anybody else that's out there? Like, I'm still reading, so why can't I just do it in a different, a different type of way? But nobody understood it. I probably couldn't even explain it how I can explain it now back then when I was trying to explain that stuff. I wish I still had some of those plays because then it would show that, this is old and the paper will be all, scrambled up, whatever. But again, I went that, like I say, that's the love that I have for stuff like this. So back to what we were talking about. When we talk about offensive philosophy, for me, myself, I love the way they use Jalen Hurts in Philly. I really think the Ravens should do more of that with Lamar. The problem with Lamar is that he's more of a slender body, so he can't really just run a lot of those power runs with the quarterback like Jalen can throughout the season, not just for 1 or 2 games. And that's what makes San Francisco so deadly is because they have three guys that they can, in any given time, they can put in that backfield and run something like that, where they have basically 11 on 11, right? Because initially, when you're playing, the offense is at a disadvantage because you're really playing one person behind, because your quarterback is not really a movable piece, I should say, right? So you have, let's say you go with a regular personnel set, like let's go with just I formation, right? You got your two receivers, your tight end, and your two running back. You got your running back and a fullback. So the defense has 11 players. If you was to run, if you're going to run the football, they have 11. You only have 10. Because the quarterback's not blocking nobody. He's getting out doing the play fake, trying to hold that defensive end or hold somebody. And that play is not, more likely he wasn't going to make the play anyway, because the play was meant to go to the other side of the field. So you're always playing behind as far as the numbers is considered. So being able to move, have a moving quarterback, is why I said that I would like a center, and that's why I kind of bunched all this together, because I want a center that is able to understand and play with either a smaller statue guy or a guy that likes to run around, because he understands how it feels to not be able to, when you're blocking and I'm blocking this dude and I turn him this way and I'm blocking him and I got him, but then to give up a sack because I got a statue back here, and I'm used to Kyler Murray. When I turn him this way, Kyler Murray sees it and he's gone, right? That's what I'm talking about when I talk about having a good center to help with that young quarterback. Then the weapons. I'm a firm believer in, of course, speed kills. I've always said that it's been proven in football that speed kills, right? But the way that you use the speed is what kills the teams. I want to say the first, Bill O'Brien is one of those guys that really love the deep over routes, those real deep post routes. You a Texas fan, you're used to seeing that because that was a staple way back in Kubiak days with Andre Johnson going over. Even when we had Donald Driver way back in the day, those routes, them deep over routes, were something that was used a lot in our systems. So speed comes into play with that, because the quarterback don't have 20 seconds for you to run 70 yards. He just don't. So you need to get your butt over there quick and as fast as you can, especially if you want the ball. So receivers, I like my receivers to be able to block, fast, and physical, right? Do you find that all the time? No, it's like you pretty much drawing up the perfect player, right? But if you could find somebody, you could find a player that loves the game and that just loves to play for his teammates, like a Debo. Debo's gonna make sure he blocks for you. Yeah, he know he gonna get the ball, but his love is to block for you and see you shine. And it's not too many receiver people that's like that. So if you find guys like that, you gotta have them. And the 49ers have two. And so you have to have those kind of playmakers. You have to. uh, as far as philosophy for me and the way that I think. Um, so then after that, uh, like I say, I picked, I ran those guys in tight end. Not tight end, running back, receiver, and center. I ran all those in at the same. So then my next is linebacker, and then that linebacker on their own, and then safety on their own. So 6 and 7 is linebacker and safety. Linebackers, again, tough, tough, fast, physical, and with very, very high character. Very high character. It's cliche. You hear Dion say it all the time, whatever, but that really is the truth. Your linebacker has to be a dog. He can't be Mr. Nice Guy. Hey, everybody, come on to the cookout. Now, I want my linebacker to be like a cookout. And y'all know what time it is, man? It's time to get on these weights. It's time to get in this film room. We ain't worried about no cook-off. We ain't trying to go to Stancy house and go play video games and sit by the pool. It's time to go to work. I want a guy like that. A guy that's non-stop at middle linebacker. Fast, physical, tough, with character. Right? Safeties, again, same thing with the center. A really, really smart player that can communicate. I need somebody that's able to communicate and translate the calls from one side to the other. Upper in my age, safety was the position I played. In high school ball, I played some in semi-pro. Safety is a communication spot position on the field. One of the things my mom used to always say, hey, stop talking. You always out there moving your hands when you're trying to stop telling them what to do and pay attention. Well, it's a reason for that, because when we're making checks, we have to communicate that to the other side. And we played a lot of single high. So I have to tell a corner from this side and tell him over there, hey, look, we rolling. Oh, he telling me, hey, we finna banjo. And then I have to relay that to him, what's going on this side, so that he knows if something comes on that side, a drag or a deep cross or whatever the case is, that he's gonna have to get that. So he needs to get back, because I got 2 or 3 on this side and I gotta play this side. So it's communicating, right? Need somebody that can see the field, be able to speak, communicate, and galvanize and have the people, other teammates, be able to coexist with each other. So that's my philosophies or way that I would say. When I dropped the video, I said something about Patrick Queen coming to the Texans. That's a lovely idea. I wish, like I said, I wish it would happen, because I want to see what these guys and how Nick and D'Amico and what they value and how they're going to mesh that together. And the reason why we did this video today about team building is because D'Amico is on that one side and Nick is on the other side of the spectrum. Nick is a outside guy first. D'Amico is an inside guy first. Front 7, DBs, receivers. who's going to be the one? How are they going to get and come at this and build the team? So, like I said, then we're getting close to the hour mark. I don't want to cut it here. Yeah, so we at the hour mark. I don't want to go too much longer. Uh, so we want. I want to see that. I want to see how they do that, and I also believe that you have to get your leader at quarterback with two. Um, you cannot if you're there at two and no quarterback has been taken with the number one pick. You have the pick of whatever quarterback you feel is your quarterback. Again, my opinion, I wouldn't touch Will Levis until the second round. My opinion, I wouldn't touch Anthony Richardson until the second round. My opinion, the only quarterbacks that really should be talked about as being first round talent people are Bryce and CJ. My opinion, from what I see, from what I read, the stats, everything that you see that can project to a quarterback being worked a pick in the first round is those two guys. The problem, the reason why 4 quarterbacks is probably gonna go, maybe possibly even 5 now, are going into the first round is because people value quarterback, and sometimes to the detriment of a team because they overvalue it to the 29th degree. So, again, if the QB is there, if they fall in love with Bryce or CJ and the coach trade up and they take either Bryce or CJ, don't force yourself to pick the second best. If you really in your heart feel like Jalen Carter is that difference maker, grab him. Because you can trade up. You have the ammunition to trade up to get if CJ starts to fall or Anthony Richardson later on in the first round. You have that capability of doing that. Don't try to murder yourself into making sure that you get that right. We're not. To me, right now, as I just believe the Texans are going to struggle again next year, no matter what quarterback we pick, because we still have a lot of holes and they're young. A lot of these players are still young, right? A lot of these players need to be developed and be coached differently than the past few coaches we had. Cully should have never been a head coach, and Lovey should have never been a head coach. And so a lot of the assistant coaches that they brought in, they shouldn't have been here either. So you got a conundrum of a whole bunch of stuff that shouldn't be here. Now we're finally getting it right. We're finally getting back to the main thing and making the main thing the main thing. And we're trying to build and rebuild the culture. And I believe that it's coming at the perfect time. The reason why I say that is because I've been hearing talks about new stadiums. Of course, the uniform, they've already rebranded and they have new clothing material stuff coming out with the H-Town instead of just, the Houston Texans with the Bull logo. The real simple, boring stuff that came from Bob McNair. Now we're modernizing it and we're trying to make it something bigger and better. New stadium, I've heard. I'm not exactly sure how the talks are about that. It just, I guess, it's kind of like somebody put it out there when they was talking when Kyle had asked for ideas and stuff on a survey from fans, and the stadium idea came up saying, yes, we was the first to do it, but we don't want it to turn into what the Astrodome did. The Astrodome was the first as the a dome stadium for football, and the roof and all that stuff was ahead of its time. So was Reliant, the first retractable roof, the first roof that was made to where I forgot what they call that material that let natural light in without the actual heat part coming in, but still having natural light. All that stuff mattered, but it's starting to look kind of outdated compared to the newer stadiums that are coming out. I mean, the rendering from Tennessee Stadium, man, to me personally, I love the way that stadium looked. To me, that's just me. I'm not a fan of the Buffalo Stadium renderings. Um, and I'm definitely not a fan of the Washington Commanders rendering stadiums. Every one of those are horrible that I've seen. So, like I said, I think that's coming. Like, we're coming into that perfect timing, right? Go ahead and get your QB now. He has the smile. He has that it factor. If he can translate that on the field, now you have your face of the franchise. You have the face of the franchise in Bryce Young. You put some talent around him. You have your head coach who was a former Texan. You rebranded. You putting out uniform, possibly changing back from that. excuse me, from the deep steel blue to going back to the, well, we can't say powder blue, but a lighter blue color with the red and the white, and going back to how the city can embrace what we had here with the Oilers. I think that's the way to go. Then we're talking about ownership as well, doing their part. So it's a lot of good things coming. Last topic. I've been hearing people say that it's been too long since the Texans always down. It's been too long, and this, that, and the third. I want people to really. This is when people say that, and you claim that you're a football fanatic or some kind of sports fanatic or whatever. I can't take you serious talking about anything else. And some of these guys out here on this platform be doing that. And people out around, same thing. I don't like. Have y'all paid attention to Cincinnati? Have you paid attention to the Browns? The Browns were down before they left to go beat Baltimore. Then they came back and they still have not done anything. Cincinnati just recently, since what, 84, I believe, 84, 85 Super Bowl was the last time that they got to that goal. So for 30 some odd years, they've been the bottom of the barrel as far as football is concerned. Cleveland has Detroit. Like, did we forget that Detroit had Megatron and Matthew Stafford, and they still didn't win nothing? They had Barry Sanders, Herman Moore, and Sterling Sharp, and I mean not Sterling Sharp. I can't think of his name. The receiver Sterling, he's not related to Shannon Sharp and them, but they had receivers over there. They didn't win nothing. Of course, they had a QB, but they didn't win nothing. They've been at the bottom of the barrel for years. The New England Patriots, before Bill Belichick got there, New England was, them in Tampa Bay was the standard for losing. Like, come on, people. Like, let's really stop with the Texan hate. It's ridiculous to sit up here and say, "Oh, well, yeah, y'all been at the bottom too long." It was just 2 seasons ago. 2 seasons ago, we had more playoff victories than the Cowboys, for one, and a couple of Arizona. And I think what in that same span, probably not Green Bay. I think Green Bay and us might have had kind of similar record. Like, do y'all not realize that Bill O'Brien had 3 different starting quarterbacks, and at now time, should any of those 3 quarterbacks have been a starting quarterback ever, and we went to the playoff? Did y'all forget that we had Matt Schaub on a roll? He was rolling. Could have been the MVP that season back in 2012. He gets hurt, or 2011, gets hurt. It's like, I want to say 4 weeks left in the season, 3 weeks left in the season, and we had to go with TJ Yates and Case Keenum. A rookie Case Keenum. A young Case Keenum. And we went to the playoffs. Not only did we go to the playoffs, but we won. It's only been one time that we've went to the playoffs and lost in the first game, and that was against the Colts in the T.Y. Hilton game. I need that to stop, man. Y'all need to stop with that, because that is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Stop with it. The Texan hate, the Texan slander. If you don't like the team, you don't like the team. I get it. But to sit here and say, well, y'all been sucking for 6, 7, 8 years. We've never been at the bottom like that. We've never been Jacksonville, where we draft the so-called best QB prospect that everybody's ever seen. Oh my goodness, he's Jesus playing football. And then the very next year they draft back in the first round, in the top 3 pick. Then the next year they go back again with a first pick, and then again they get the first pick. Come on now. Like, stop with this. It's crazy. Y'all want to keep following these Skip Baylesses and Stephen A's of the world and taking their side as, oh, what they say go ahead. But when are you gonna become a person that you stand on your own to? Stand on your own to and make your own conclusion of players and philosophies and understanding the game. Not just looking at one particular game and saying, "Oh, yeah, I watched 17. I live in Brandbrier, South Dakota, and I watched one Texan game, and hey, I can tell you those guys, that's the worst team I've ever seen in my life." Dude, you probably watched one game. I don't even have the map up, but I can tell you, I'm pretty sure ain't nobody in North Dakota, South Dakota getting Texan games unless they got NFL Network. NFL Game Day, whatever that little pass is on Direct TV. And then even then, if you do and you're not a fan of the Texans, why are you wasting your time sitting there watching us? That makes no sense. Because me, I'm not gonna sit here. I don't have time to sit here and watch Jacksonville. They don't matter to me. Not my team. The only time I'm watching them is when it's time for us to play them. When we playing them, or we getting ready to play them, and I'm doing some kind of scouting to see what's gonna happen. Other than that, I'm not watching them. I'm not watching Jacksonville when they play Indianapolis. I don't care. The Texans are on. I'm watching the Texans. I don't care enough to go out my way to watch the Washington Commanders. It's not saying that I don't like the team or I dislike everybody on their roster or whatever the case is. It's just as a fan that watches the game, my team is my team. Y'all stand up for your team. Your team is your team. Your opinion. Stop having outside voices cloud your mind on what you think and what you see what's going on. And with that, I'm going to leave y'all. Peace. Remember, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Thanks again. Remember, you're a part of the bullpen when you hit that subscribe button. It's love, peace, happiness. Until next time, folks, 5, and we out. Drop the beat, cool.